I love Edge Radio.
There is nothing wrong with your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the Media Mothership.
All right, Squeaky, welcome here to Media Mothership, broadcasting out of Edge Radio Studios in Nipaluna, Hobart, Tasmania. On Media Mothership, we explore how media increasingly literally shapes our understanding of the world around us through AI. I've been doing less and less human work and more, well, let's get the AI to do it. Anyway, as today's show will show, that's going to be coming up. We're streaming, of course, on edgeradio.org.au, the website, as well as YouTube and Twitch. I hope, I think that's working.
Yeah.
I need an AI to help me there. I'm assuming it's working. I'm only human. You can also listen to us on 99.3 FM and message us via the SMS on 0488811707. Yep. I'm your host, Dr. Craig, joined by Lord Taylor.
Hello, everyone.
The dark side, I feel at this moment. Well, today's topic is going to be about Joseph Campbell's concept of the hero's journey. It's an idea that Joseph Campbell, an anthropologist, came up with to explain mythology. Greek stories, legends, Native American legends, and they often, he felt, fell into a particular pattern, which he defined as the hero's journey. And in a hero's journey, there's often like a Lord Vader dark character and a, the wise doctor character, which in that space would be called the Jedi. So I would cast myself, of course, as a kind of, maybe not the Luke Skywalker, maybe the Obi-Wan type doctor character.
Maybe the Leia.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I could pull off Leia. That's
definitely
awkward.
The hair. Yeah.
Yep, definitely the hair.
Well, I'm looking at your headphones now, and it quite looks like
the Leia Organa Star Wars ear buns that she had. So yes, we're going to journey into that, and basically what we're going to do is break down this concept of the hero's quest by interrogating some of our previous AI experiments, specifically the Sherlock Holmes AI piece. That was where we asked Google Colabs, one of the particular models projects within Google Colabs. We trained it up on Sherlock Holmes stories, radio dramas from the 1950s, 40s and 50s to create a Sherlock Holmes radio drama in the style of the 1940s and 50s. And Taylor, you created one. And we put it together a few weeks ago, and we aired it for the first time. And the response has been amazing. It's been so amazing that we're going to return to that piece and ask another piece of AI software, ChatGPT, to iterate it, to massage it a bit further. We're going to apply Joseph Campbell's concept of the hero's journey to that Sherlock Holmes drama and get it to create a hero's quest based on that short radio drama we did, and see what it does to it. And then we're going to play it live on air to more acclaim and talk about how it does and doesn't really do a good job to that. So all that and more. And I'm going to dip into some really interesting news articles that have come across my
path.
Yeah, path RSS feed around popular culture and media to discuss, and I might even apply the theory to it, the hero's quest theory to it. Yep. So all that and more here on Media Mothership on Edge Radio 99.3 FM with Dr. Craig and Lord Taylor. Okay.
Every week.
I don't know why. All right, hold on. Is it the volume on this end? Well, yep, it is.
Okay.
This time, I realize it. Yep, so let's try that again. So, yeah, all that and more here on Edge Radio 99.3 with Dr. Craig and Lord Taylor.
There we go.
There we go. There we go. See, this time it only took me mere seconds. I think 3 weeks ago, the same problem took me 5 minutes. I'm kind of like, let's go to the USB. All right, welcome back here to Media Mothership on Edge Radio 99.3. I'm Dr. Craig, joined by Lord Taylor.
Hello. Again.
What I want to do, okay, so when I set this up, let's first define terms. It's very important to define terms. So I've asked ChatGPT to define terms. I offered a definition, right?
Yeah.
Joseph, okay, so my definition off the top of my head, because I haven't actually gone back to this theory for 5 or 6 years, or probably since I was in love with Star Wars and came across... Anyway, Joseph Campbell, anthropologist's theory of the hero's quest. So let's tell it in terms of Jason the Argonauts, right? So trying to explain that, you have a Greek hero who goes on a quest, right? And normally in the journey of Jason the Argonauts, right, he has to he gets a call to adventure, right? So there's something where he has a reason to go with his Argonauts on the boat. What was the reason for Jason the Argonauts going on the boat?
Golden Fleece, wasn't it?
Was it a golden fleece? I think it was a test
Some sort of test.
given for marriage. Oh,
I'm getting mixed up with
Yeah.
Hercules, so...
yeah. Anyway, so what Joseph Campbell did is, he broke it all down and saw a pattern where there was kind of a call to adventure, and there are barriers, and then I do remember at the end of the journey, there's the boon of knowledge, right? The hero completes the adventure and returns to the point of departure with a boon of knowledge, because he's saved the day, he's resolved the quest, and so forth. The boon of knowledge is he's leveled up.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my effort as a human to remember what the hero's quest is. Let's hear how ChatGPT defined the hero's quest. I gave it the instructions to define it in 200 words or less.
The hero's journey is a storytelling framework developed by Joseph Campbell that describes a universal pattern found in many myths, legends, and stories from around the world. The framework consists of 3 main stages: departure, initiation, and return. In the departure stage, the hero is called to adventure and sets out on a journey to face challenges and obstacles.
So I think I nailed that one.
Yeah,
Right,
definitely.
so it's called down eventually. We've got a departure stage. So the first stage is departure. This is like Easter. I went to Adelaide. So my trip to Adelaide was a hero's journey.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so there was a call to adventure, there was departure. So I did that. So far, so good. Let's hear more from Chad.
The hero is often aided by mentors or helpers and may face tests or trials along the way.
Yep. So I
Airline
had to
food.
pass. Look, airline food. I had to pass security. There was the helpful Jetstar person taking my tickets, who aided me. I took the family, so that was R2D2, C3PO, and Princess Leia. I don't know, and they kind of aided me in getting there. Yep. Let's listen.
Initiation stage. The hero faces a major challenge or crisis and undergoes a transformational experience. The hero may experience a dark night of the soul or confront their greatest fear, but ultimately emerges stronger and wiser.
This did happen to me in Adelaide. Actually, on the way back from Adelaide, my son had a fishing reel, and I checked online if you can bring fishing reels on check-in luggage, and it said yes. But then when we got there, yes, the fishing reel is fine. The rod is always going to be a problem, but it's the fishing line, which they said, there's a weird object in here, sir. Can I check your bags? It was, as has been explained in the Hero's Quest, the darkest hour. right? It was kind of like I had to look deep into myself, and he said, "Well, we're going to have to get you to remove the line." So I had to take off $6 worth of fishing line, which took like 3 minutes because there was a lot of line. It was a huge challenge. That was like, could this journey back home happen? I didn't know at that point. Maybe I'll never get back home because I can't get the fishing line off the reel. Let's continue with the hero's quest.
In the return stage, the hero returns home, transformed by their journey. They may be celebrated as a hero, but may also face challenges from those who do not understand or accept their transformation.
See, I was transformed from Adelaide, and I do feel I returned to Tasmania as the hero. Is that what you were smiling about?
Yes.
How could he be the hero? I got off that flight. It was like 10 at night, and Hobart's weather was 8 degrees, and everyone yelled in front of me as they walked off onto that jet walkway thing, or the walkway thing. And I just gritted my teeth because I'd been transformed.
Yeah.
I'd faced the security at Adelaide Airport, gotten through that, and was a transformed hero with the boon of knowledge.
Inspiring.
Yeah, and it is a moment. I mean, it's nice coming off an airplane where you got steps and you wave at the crowd. Or no one. You look around. You know, the Beatles about to perform, kind of. Anyway. All right, so yeah, and here's the final definition. So the return of the hero.
Writers can use the hero's journey framework as a guide for crafting compelling stories that resonate with readers. By following the stages of the journey, writers can create relatable characters who undergo transformational experiences that connect with readers on a deeper level. The hero's journey can be adapted to a wide range of genres and storylines, and has been used to great effect in countless books, films, and other works of fiction.
Yeah, so, again, the explanation being that this hero's journey idea, those 3 elements, do you remember what those 3 elements were?
Initiation.
Departure stage.
Departure. And then initiation.
Then initiation stage, so the hero faces a major challenge or crisis and undergoes a transformational experience. The dark night of the soul. Confront the greatest fear. Right. Security.
Yeah.
Or the dog sniffing your luggage.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Okay.
right. Did I put nuts in my bag? Oh, dear. Shouldn't laugh about that serious issue.
Exactly.
And then the return stage. Yes, the third stage is the return stage, and the hero returns home transformed by that journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, and writers have applied that in many, many different ways. Probably the most famous way is Star Wars. I've asked ChatGPT to explain how Star Wars gets applied to that, but before I do, Taylor, off the top of your head, how do you think Star Wars applies that hero's return?
Hero's return.
Yep. What like in Star Wars, what do you think the departure is?
Well, you've got Mr. Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
He departs his planet.
Yes. What was the call to adventure he had?
Mr. Kenobi.
Yeah, your father was a great Jedi. Oh, no. It's the princess. They've got to rescue the princess. The hologram pops up from R2-D2's head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Call to adventure. Rescue the princess. Initiation stage, what's the major challenge that happens in Star Wars? The dark night of the soul.
Vader.
Yeah, confronts Vader. Ben Kenobi dies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a really depressing point. And return stage, the transformation of the journey, celebrated as a hero.
I can't remember the final movie.
They blow up the Death Star.
Yeah.
They blow up the Death Star. And then there's the award ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happens all the time when I land back in Hobart.
Yeah.
Kind of like celebrate. All right, well, let's see what ChatGPT reminds us. So again, as it's been pointed out, this hero's journey gets applied to many, many stories. So just to remind us, given that Star Wars is, I guess, such a cornerstone, such a well-known popular piece, here's how we can apply the hero's journey to an existing fictional piece of work, like Star Wars, to explain it.
The hero's journey framework can be easily applied to the Star Wars franchise, which heavily draws upon Campbell's work. In the original Star Wars film, A New Hope, the protagonist Luke Skywalker is called to adventure when he receives a distress message from Princess Leia. He sets out on a journey to rescue her and joins forces with the Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi, who serves as his mentor. In the initiation stage, Luke faces a series of tests and trials, including learning to use the Force, rescuing Princess Leia from the Death Star, and confronting the evil Darth Vader. He undergoes a transformational experience when Obi-Wan is killed by Vader, but emerges stronger and more committed to his quest to destroy the Death Star. In the return stage, Luke returns home a hero, having destroyed the Death Star and saved the Rebel Alliance. However, he faces challenges from those who do not understand his transformation, such as his old friend Han Solo, who initially dismisses his newfound belief in the Force. The hero's journey framework is also present in the subsequent Star Wars films, as Luke continues to face challenges and undergo transformational experiences in his quest to bring balance to the Force. The framework has become a hallmark of the franchise and has influenced countless works of science fiction and fantasy storytelling.
All right, so all of that is background to show that, writing stories is a challenging thing. Good stories often fall down into specific patterns of storytelling. So, academic Joseph Campbell took a collection of classic mythological stories across various civilizations, developed the hero's quest concept of the departure, the initiation, and the return stage. And through that, you can develop quite good stories. So that's all well and good. What happens, though, when you try and cobble together a story which doesn't work? So let's play now the Sherlock Holmes Google Labs story. And the challenge we're setting ourselves is, can we turn this story into a hero's quest? Right, so we've established the hero's quest story is a good model for stories to use to develop strong protagonists through. So let's start with an imperfect story. And just to prove how imperfect it is, shall I play the ChatGPT summary first, or I'll play the whole thing and then I'll do how ChatGPT summarized.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Taylor. I'll give you all the credit for this one. Taylor's Sherlock Holmes story, developed through Google Labs, and this was trained up. This took quite a long time-ish to develop. Like, a few nights every night for a week or something.
Yeah.
2 hours, 3 hours, with a lot of alcohol, where you were training the program and iterating it. Okay, well, let's listen to it.
I've searched and examined everywhere.
Oh, I should say before we go any further. So this is, of course, Sherlock Holmes story. We've cast a female voice for Sherlock Holmes, a la the Lucy Liu version of Sherlock Holmes. Elementary, the Elementary Sherlock Holmes TV drama. So Sherlock Holmes is voiced by a female AI voice. Watson is male. I think that's the only two. Yep. All right, so to return.
But I still haven't found Santa Claus.
What about his hat, Watson?
No, I have not found his hat.
Come on, Watson, we need his hat. If you rub it 5 times, your foot turns to stone and he appears under the table.
You're a scoundrel, Holmes, and a rat. A silly boy and a bell-ringing slippery pencil manager.
Please sit, my dear goose.
What? On this canoe?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Rush. I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Did you steal the diamond and ruby chicken?
Holmes, of course not. Do you want a biff on the nose?
No, I want to sing Good King Wenceslas.
You mean Good King Wenceslas of the octagonal square?
No, I mean Mrs. Crabapple of the Vinegar Police.
Holmes, do you have the Christmas measles by chance?
Of course. However did you know?
Well, you've soiled your father's hand, broken your wife, and have a French accent.
Well done, my dear sir.
Favorite part of that, of course. Sorry. Welcome back to Media Mothership here on Edge Radio 99.3 FM. I'm Dr. Craig, joined by Lord Taylor.
Hello.
My favorite part of that is the French accent joke at the end.
Yeah.
And you voiced him with a French voice, which was great. It was art, absurdist comedy at that point. So, you know, there's dialogue in that. So we'd train that. We'd collected about 10 or 12 scripts, I want to say, from Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
These are half-hour radio drama scripts from the 1940s and 50s, which we found online. And we trained the Google Colab software to develop a writing style in the manner of those scripts. And then we got it to create like 500 words. 250 word piece.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Which then you cherry picked and kind of, we ended up with, about the 250 words there that were the highlights, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a bit of drama. Previously, you've said canoe was an interesting highlight.
Because it didn't actually appear within the data set.
But it's difficult to get a handle on the story. So we asked ChatGPT if it could get a handle on the story, and ChatGPT came up with the following summary of that piece, which is going to be played now.
The text is a nonsensical conversation between Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson about the whereabouts of Santa Claus and the importance of finding his hat. They discuss rubbing the hat to bring Santa Claus out and accuse each other of being a scoundrel and a rat. They also question Mrs. Rush about stealing a diamond and ruby chicken and get sidetracked discussing singing Christmas carols and the Christmas measles. The conversation is meant to be humorous and absurd, with no real plot or purpose.
Yeah, so that probably wouldn't pass an English test in terms of write a quick story of Sherlock Holmes. It seems there's two stories there. One about Santa Claus and rubbing a hat. And interestingly, only one of the scripts we did train it on, only one of the 12 was a Christmas script. But the AI loved Christmas, clearly, and to put Santa in it. The second story was the diamond chicken type thing.
Yeah.
Right, which was slightly more investigative, right? But as in an earlier episode, another theory used was the mice theory. Stories often have a milieu, like a location-based story. So, what's the one about the guy that goes to the place and is big and everyone else is small? Gulliver's Travels?
Yeah.
Right? Is a milieu story, the guy that's big. Milieu story, or a kind of investigation, inquiry story, like Sherlock Holmes, right? So we're kind of thinking there should be a kind of I component, inquisition, inquiry thing, which is kind of there. They're trying to track down. The other ones are C for character, so it's a character arc. You know, someone starts in Act 1 feeling unhappy because they're ugly, the ugly duckling story, and then they go through
like
character development.
Falling Down. Have you ever seen that movie?
Is that the one with Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
And he loses his job in Act 1? Yes.
That's one of my favourite movies.
It's 1990s Michael. Yeah, wow, that's out of left field. It's a good film, Falling Down. Yeah. I remember the scene where he goes to the fast food place with the Uzi. Yeah. See, his character. So, yeah, Falling Down's a good one. It's all about, an inner journey a character has, or outer journey in that case. E is environment. So an asteroid's about to hit the Earth, and life as we know it will change forever. So, ChatGPT didn't really feel it was a story, thought it was just absurd. So we tried to get a little further with that today by going back to ChatGPT, feeding it our initial script of the Sherlock Holmes piece that we'd created, and getting it to rewrite it or take that script and redevelop it in the style of a Joseph Campbell's hero's journey to see where it would go. Right.
Interesting.
Is it a little more? So we're going to listen now. This goes for 2 minutes 13.
I'll be counting.
That's right. This is a Sherlock Holmes based on this, right? So what we're going to be listening to is there any Santa Claus or hats being rubbed?
Or chicken.
Chicken. I mean, what has it picked up from the bits and pieces of unintelligible non-storyness that it said that story has and turned it into possibly something like a story? Also remembering that Joseph Campbell's hero's journey requires it to have a departure stage, an initiation stage, and a return stage. So does it have Those
Any
three.
of them.
Any of them. All right, here we go.
Opening music. Narrator, welcome to The Hero's Journey, a radio drama inspired by Joseph Campbell's iconic storytelling framework. Today, we bring you the story of the legendary detective, Sherlock Holmes, who embarks on a mystery that will test his wit and challenge his perception of reality. Sound of footsteps. Narrator, meet Holmes and Watson, two inseparable companions who have solved countless cases together. One day, Holmes receives a strange request from an anonymous client, who claims that his diamond and ruby chicken has been stolen.
Watson, we have a new case. Someone has stolen a valuable chicken.
A chicken? That seems like a trivial matter, Holmes.
Not just any chicken, Watson. This chicken is adorned with precious gems. We must find it before it's too late.
Narrator, the duo sets off on a journey across London, following a trail of clues that leads them to the doorstep of Mrs. Rush, a peculiar woman who runs a canoe rental business.
Mrs. Rush, did you steal the diamond and ruby chicken?
Me? Steal a chicken? I have no idea what you're talking about, Mr. Holmes.
Holmes, this is getting absurd. We're interrogating a canoe rental owner about a stolen chicken.
Watson, we must explore every lead, no matter how bizarre it may seem.
As the investigation intensifies, the scuffle between Holmes and Watson subsides, revealing a surprising twist that no one could have foreseen.
Watson, I have a confession to make. This whole case was a ruse, a mere diversion to distract us from a much larger conspiracy.
What conspiracy, Holmes?
The conspiracy to undermine the credibility of the greatest detective in the world, Sherlock Holmes.
And so, the hero's journey comes to an end, leaving us with a sense of mystery and wonder that only a true master of the art could evoke. Closing music.
Sorry, here it is. There it is. I had a kind of existential moment as I was listening to that in a way, because it ends with this point around, there's been a conspiracy, and the conspiracy is to diminish the credibility of the world's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes. And in a way, I feel that was making comment on the work we're doing. That we are the ones who are diminishing the credibility of Sherlock Holmes by creating these fan fiction pieces that are so unlike Sherlock Holmes and diminishing his credibility as the world's greatest detective. That we're the villains, we're the antagonists in this. It's okay. I don't think the AI is self-aware, but it's a weird moment where the AI has incorporated in it the fact that this is an absurd story. So Watson says at a point, Holmes, this is absurd. This doesn't matter. The chicken, this is not one of our investigations. And that's the kind of initiation point, And then the concluding return point is Sherlock Holmes actually having his voice of Holmes and saying, no, you're right. Something's wrong here. This is a crap story that we've been put in that's all designed to diminish my brand identity as the world's greatest hero, detective.
In which case I'd like to formally apologise.
Really? Yeah. Being the villain is a fine thing to have. I don't think we need to cede ground yet. I think we need to up the stakes.
Okay.
Sherlock Holmes, if you're already worried about losing your credibility, we've got months left of torture for you ahead. We're going to see how far we can dismantle your tropes.
Exactly, because you are in the public domain.
That's right. Yes, 2023, January, Sherlock Holmes' entire canon, including and up to Moriarty, in fact, all of it now, is public domain knowledge. Woo. So, Sherlock Holmes might be turning in his metaphorical grave.
Yeah.
Or Arthur C. The author? Conan Doyle? Arthur Conan Doyle would be turning in his grave. What do you reckon? Do you reckon that was closer to a story than our AI story?
I think it was, mainly because it had the sort of elements of narration.
Yeah.
So it had sort of a background idea that you could be thinking about as the characters were speaking.
Yeah. And that was really helpful. In fact, I was rushing to get it together, as Taylor will attest. And one of the things that's interesting is it had direction for sound effects. And during the middle section, there's a scuffle sound effect that's meant to happen between Holmes and Watson as they fight each other, I assume. Because Watson said, this is a trivial matter, Holmes, we shouldn't do it. And then Sherlock says, no, we've got to do it. And then they go to see Mrs. Ruth, whatever. And her character's quite good. I thought, in terms of saying, I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know what you're talking about. And then the penny drops for Holmes after he scuffles with Watson. This is a conspiracy, which is a great... It's not really the hero returns moment, but it is a great kind of inquiry cliffhanger that this is all a ruse to diminish Holmes's credibility. I was going, oh my God, there's a twist to the story. There's no Santa Claus, though.
No Santa Claus.
What's left out of this version?
Octagonal Square.
Square, yeah, and that was quite a revelation. That was almost a cult-like weird thing that was coming up in all the searches we had for it.
It did include canoe, though.
Yeah, that's right, because they go to the odd, beautiful description in terms of, they go to Mrs. Ruth's place, who's an odd person who has a canoe store or something, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's look, it's more of a story. It's clever in terms of working with the short material that's been provided. And I can also hear traces of the ChatGPT critique of it. It's absurdest thing, barely a story. And it said, it's given that voice almost to Watson. So it's more Holmes and Watson's voice in a way in this one. So you could see that ChatGPT's kind of fleshing out those characters in terms of being able to be aware of the tropes, that Holmes behaves this way, Watson behaves this way, and plays it out quite well. I like this version better.
Yeah.
But this is the question we had, right? Do we go with something like ChatGPT, knowing it can create something a bit more polished, or do we go something that's going to be messy and give us a really clunky piece of work?
But that's what I think works with this, is because it's got that clunky piece of work behind it.
Yes.
And then refined by ChatGPT.
Entirely. Yeah. I think that workflow actually will create a gem, a rose from the coal. What happens when you crush coal? Anyway, like something beautiful coming from something quite ugly.
A diamond.
Yeah, in the rough, in the coal. That is because we're not just saying, take the existing great canon of work that's out there and write a new Sherlock Holmes story. It's, no. Take this really bad, incomprehensible fan fiction and let's see where we can go from there.
Yeah.
And so I was quite... I'm going to keep working on this.
Excellent.
See where it goes. All right, so that's where we're at the moment. We'll see what we can piece together from this piece as it works its way up. Here on Edge Radio 99.3 on Media Mothership. All right. So I did get a bit carried away with the Hero's Quest because, as I mentioned, there were some news articles that I want to talk about. But I want to talk about these news articles to help us further explain both news and the hero's journey still. So I've taken the idea of a couple of really interesting news pieces. The first one being a Wired article, which I've not been able to access because it's stuck behind a paywall. But I've asked ChatGPT to summarize it for me to get into it. Because basically it's about the hacking and the jailbreaking of ChatGPT and what that might unleash once people figure out... there are already YouTubes about these are the prompts to use to get it to swear at you and go super Nazi on you or whatever. But those have been kind of... baited out, or patched out.
Yeah.
So, but there's still people that have been experimenting with creating, figuring out how to jailbreak it. So what I might do first is, which one am I up to? So the first article, before we get to that one, the first article I want to talk about is a current piece of news hitting Australia. It's been posted through various news articles. This one's from the Mercury, talking about Anthony Albanese last week banning TikTok on government devices. And this is in relation to the fact that people in the Australian government have been issued a kind of data security concern around social media apps, and there's now been a ban placed on all government devices and how they install popular social media platforms such as TikTok. So I've asked ChatGPT to first define that. Actually, I can't remember this one. I think it's either define it or explain it in terms of Hero's Quest. I ran out of time.
Something's happened.
All right, so let's listen to this. This is the TikTok article. Anthony Albanese starts on the TikTok article via a ChatGPT prompt. That's either very weird, because it's the Hero's Quest, or it's an actual summary. I can't remember which. Okay, let's listen to this.
The article on TikTok global bans follows the classic structure of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey.
Okay, here we go.
In the departure stage, TikTok Global has been called to adventure by the challenges of international regulations regarding data privacy and security. TikTok is facing a crisis that threatens its very existence.
All right, so it has been called to adventure. So what I've done is asked ChatGPT to summarize this article according to Joseph Campbell's theory of the hero's quest. So it summarized the article by saying, at the start, it's been called to journey, to adventure by global regulatory frameworks. In this case, the Australian government's decision to ban it on government phones. All right, but that's the journey part, right? So ChatGPT as an entity has made this. So I guess now it's up to the initiation point, where there's meant to be the initiation point is it undergoes a transformational experience and seeks to address the challenges and emerge stronger and more resilient. So let's see how, because clearly the ChatGPT is taking TikTok as the protagonist, as the good guy in this. So we'll see where it goes.
Governments around the world question the safety and security of the popular social media platform. In the initiation stage, TikTok is undergoing a transformational experience as it seeks to address these challenges and emerge stronger and more resilient.
Sounds like a press announcement, press release. You could totally press release this,
of course,
via Hero's Journey, right? So yes, so ChatGPT
is becoming stronger.
Corporation, now has to decide how it's going to respond to the Australian government banning it, and you'd imagine it will need to become stronger. Or at least that's what it'll be pitching its shareholders. Say, we will overcome this adversity. Okay, so it should be now moving towards the return stage. So ChatGPT, so the return stage, the theory of the return stage is, the hero returns home transformed by the journey. They may be celebrated as a hero, but also face challenges by those that don't understand them. So let's hear how ChatGPT defines the hero's return here for TikTok.
The company is working to develop new policies and protocols to ensure the safety and privacy of its users, and is facing tests and trials as it navigates the complex landscape of global regulations and cultural differences. In the return stage, TikTok hopes to return home, transformed by its journey.
I guess that's return to Australia? Because it's been banned, so it's an Exodus story. So TikTok has, like Moses. God, what am I saying? But that's an Exodus story, right? The community's been expelled from a society. It's a poor metaphor. It doesn't hold up under an inquiry, so I'll freely admit that. But anyway, so in this story, so now the return is TikTok's potential return back to Australia. Let's hear how ChatGPT defines that.
The company aims to regain the trust of its users and the international community by demonstrating its commitment to data privacy and security. TikTok is also working to expand its global reach and appeal, with a particular focus on engaging with users in the Australian market. Through its journey, TikTok Global has the opportunity to emerge as a hero, having overcome the challenges of data privacy and security to become a more responsible and respected social media platform. However, the company must continue to face challenges and undergo further transformational experiences as it seeks to navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital media and technology.
It is weird to humanize the AI in that way as the main character. And I do feel I am tempted now because, again, it's interesting that ChatGPT took TikTok as the protagonist rather than Anthony Albanese or the Australian government, which are just simply background characters to this, part of the international regulatory body and environment and part of the return. But very much the protagonist is ChatGPT. What I'd like to do is invert that with a prompt around, explain this article as a horror film with ChatGPT as the Freddy Krueger character. Go. Something like that. I think that would generate a different genre than the hero's return from this. But
the Wired article on the ChatGPT.
Yep, sorry. Spoilers. I found the Wired article one, which is great. But I think it holds up. I mean, it's true what the initial definition said. Joseph Campbell's theory of the hero's quest can get applied to many stories, including news articles, it seems. So that's exciting. Again, do look at the initial articles, and because these are serious events. But continuing the unseriousness of our approach to it, the Wired article I mentioned about jailbreaking, very, very interesting. So here we have ChatGPT's summary of scientific research concerns around people jailbreaking ChatGPT and its dire consequences through the voice of, in the style of, Joseph Campbell's Hero's Quest. And I'm realizing that when we're looking at news stories which have kind of dire consequences and portray concerns about something, ChatGPT still takes them as the hero and tells these stories of kind of accomplishments. So I'm curious to see if jailbreaking ChatGPT becomes a hero narrative in this, or if it's one of the researchers flagging the story. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. So this is the Wired article on hacking ChatGPT, a la Hero's Quest.
The Wired article on the ChatGPT jailbreak follows the classic structure of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. In the departure stage, the AI language model ChatGPT has been called to adventure by the challenges of cybersecurity and digital hacking.
Yep, okay, so ChatGPT is our hero, of course. And it's been called to adventure because security people are saying there's a lot of danger about you, there's a lot of concern. It's not like rescuing the princess, but it's a call to adventure in terms of, hey, change who you are, kid, or you're in for a world of trouble. I'm thinking like James Dean, hero without a cause, rebel without a cause kind of story.
ChatGPT faces a crisis that threatens its very existence, as it is vulnerable to attacks that could compromise its integrity and security. In the initiation stage, ChatGPT undergoes a transformational experience as it seeks to address these challenges and emerge stronger and more resilient.
Again, that I can see it crafting a CV out of this. I emerged more... can you tell me of a struggle you faced? Yes, I emerged more stronger and resilient through, confronting the security concerns around me from government. Okay, so, the initiation stage is ChatGPT having to change.
Yeah. But also, it also highlights the thing that we were talking about before with the Sherlock Holmes thing, where we've got... It's always good to go through the one that does something crazy and then go through ChatGPT. Because these two particular ones are following very much the same... Pattern.
Yes. And they're very similar stories, I guess. Both of them are about tech. The third one, the last one I have, is different, but... Let's hear the return stage, see if it's the same. I assume it will be ChatGPT will come back stronger and better than ever through doing it. Okay, let's hear.
The AI model must overcome tests and trials as it navigates the complex world of cybersecurity and digital hacking. The ChatGPT team works to develop new protocols and safeguards to protect the model from attacks, but they face the daunting task of anticipating and responding to constantly evolving threats. In the return stage, ChatGPT hopes to return home, transformed by its journey. The AI model aims to emerge as a hero, having overcome the challenges of cybersecurity and digital hacking to become a more robust and secure platform. However, the model must continue to face challenges and undergo further transformational experiences as it seeks to stay ahead of emerging threats and maintain the trust of its users.
I feel like playing the Star Wars theme under this with the Imperial March might give it a bit more meaning.
Journey, ChatGPT has the opportunity to emerge as a hero, having overcome the challenges of cybersecurity and digital hacking to become a more secure and trustworthy AI language model. The ChatGPT team's dedication and...
Okay, yeah, it feels like an ad.
It does a bit, yeah.
All right. So, look, I mean, okay, so what we're realizing here is the limitation in terms of it quickly falls back upon an established template. And if you're feeding it, even though they're very different stories, one's about the Australian government's banning of TikTok and the other's about concerns around people jailbreaking ChatGPT, nevertheless, once you ask it to apply a template to it, it just swaps words, it feels. So what I've done the last article is not one about technology. It's one about, the headline is from the ABC News, talking about Ukraine ramps up calls for Australia's Bendigo-made Hawkeye military vehicle. The reason I chose this is because the Ukrainian kind of procurement people made an ad that they posted on Twitter, which uses AC/DC in the background and is this kind of Mad Max image about why they love the Australian Bushmaster vehicles they've sent and how they want this new model, the Hawkeye one, to help them in Ukraine. But it's very kind of pop culture Mad Max feel to it. So I was thinking it's quite a clever use of, a type of Aussie soft power. This idea that there's a kind of Mad Max outback environment and there's big cars going very fast along empty highways. So it's a very kind of, playing up the idea of falling in love with a type of Australian machinery, which many people don't see as being soft power, seeing something that Australia should be, that has recognition outside of Australia apart from koalas. Because it's not like this thing has a koala stuck to the front of it. They go, oh, that's so cute. That's so Australian. No, it's Mad Max Aussie. And it's got AC/DC, the Thunderstruck song in the background. So yeah, very Aussie soft power. So it's a bit of a hero's quest thing there. So I'm curious to see, will it just be that same pattern? Or will this story being about Ukraine needing Australian vehicles create something interesting? Or as we were saying, is this the problem when you're using, as you were saying, Taylor, polished software, that it polishes it a little bit too well and it does fall into the realm of once you hear one, you've heard them all. Okay.
The article on Australia-made Hawkeye military vehicles being sold to Ukraine follows the classic structure of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. In the departure stage, the Australian-made Hawkeye military vehicle has been called to adventure by the challenges of global security threats.
Cute. I could see a children's cartoon from this, right? Good old Australian bluey military vehicle, cool to adventure. You got to go. It feels like World War I and going to the Dardanelles or Gallipoli or something. Okay, let's see where it goes next.
The Ukrainian military, facing threats from Russia, seeks to bolster its defenses with more advanced military equipment.
Bit of a kind of Princess Leia, Rescue the Princess kind of vibe.
Yeah.
In the initiation stage, the Hawkeye military vehicle undergoes a transformational experience as it seeks to address these challenges and emerge stronger and more capable.
Okay, stronger and more capable, pretty pat. But I've got a strong image in my head, stronger than the ChatGPT thing about it becoming better, by being applied to the crucible of warfare. I mean, it could flesh it out a bit more. Maybe I'll put some sound effects in the background.
The vehicle must overcome tests and trials as it navigates the complex world of international military sales and diplomacy.
Yeah, because it's not going there to fight. It's going there for sales and diplomacy. Yeah. That's an interesting twist. It's actually kind of capitalist sales and procurement. Wow, that deflated the Mad Max vibe very strongly.
The Australian defence industry works to develop new strategies and tactics to ensure the successful sale and transfer of these vehicles.
Wow. I like how it's picking up that this is just about money.
Yeah.
It's just about arms sales. That's sad. This is more of a sad story.
While also managing concerns about the impact of the sale on international relations and regional stability. In the return stage, the Hawkeye military vehicle hopes to return home, transformed by its journey. The vehicle aims to emerge as a hero, having played a critical role in supporting the defense of Ukraine and promoting global security.
I definitely see that would be the ad that we'll end up with to recruit people into the military after this. Or go on tours around Australia for Anzac Day. Here's the Hawkeye car that went to Ukraine, and get your photo taken with it. It's a hero.
However, the Hawkeye must continue to face challenges and undergo further transformational experiences as it seeks to maintain its reputation as a reliable and effective military vehicle. Through its journey, the Hawkeye military vehicle has the opportunity to emerge as a hero, having played a critical role in supporting the defense of Ukraine and promoting global security. The dedication and perseverance of the Australian defence industry in navigating the complex landscape of international military sales and diplomacy demonstrates the heroic qualities of courage, innovation, and commitment to the greater good.
I like how it's not war jingoistic, it's just sales.
Yeah.
Diplomacy. It's really, I found that surprising. And unintentionally scathing in a way, and kind of stripping it away of what a normal PR piece, because basically those 3 hero's journey pieces, I kind of felt by the end the return journey was just a PR release for how they would sound. But the fact that the PR release isn't about heroically coming to being used to battle this tank or something, it was that it was sold. Yes, it was sold. This vague idea of diplomacy that the weapon would be used for, very hard power kind of narrative. But look, I am going to get ChatGPT to rewrite my CV as the hero's journey. Because I think that's a strong interview pitch.
I'll do that for next week. That sounds quite fun.
Yep, you're going to apply for a job and... Let me know how this goes.
No, I'll rewrite my, either a CV or a cover letter.
Yes.
With using ChatGPT.
Yeah, because what's interesting here is that it's looking at a non-human object, a car or software, and it's humanizing it by placing it into a storytelling convention of a protagonist. So if we do have an actual human character, it might be even more convincing and absurd, possibly. Not absurd in your case. It would be very true to life. Yeah, the hero vibe.
Brilliant.
That I always see with you. Okay, well, look, keep listening to Media Mothership because, next week I'm digging through all my great theories. I'm thinking of postmodernism next week. Just get a theory of postmodernism out, get it to apply it to Sherlock Holmes again, create a postmodern text based on this, a la Benjamin or one of the great thinkers. And then I'll apply it to news stories. And look, it can be criticized as trivializing important points, but I would always argue it's just increasing entry points into these. People might never have been interested in Ukrainian sales of the Hawkeye truck, but through our
now they will
exposure. Yeah, it's brought it to the attention of someone. I'm just justifying it. So thanks for listening. This has been Dr. Craig.
And you just indicated at me, so I'm saying, okay, yes, hello. Sorry, goodbye. This is Taylor, and I'm saying goodbye.
For Media Mothership on Edge Radio, show notes will be available on the episode description via YouTube, Twitch, or your regular podcast supplier. Next week, we're going to explore next storytelling theory. So do tune in then and apply it to all manner of news around popular culture and entertainment. You can listen to previous episodes on YouTube, Twitch, or at edgeradio.org.au or your podcast provider of choice. Find out more about us on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. And if you've enjoyed listening to us, do check out some of Edge Radio's other great pop culture songs like Millennial Think, Diceman Cometh, and the Taz Pop Group. I gotta write the name of the show down at some point. There's also the Taz Writers Group, the Bookshelf Show. It's really cool to listen to as well. Coming up next, we've got Taylor and myself on K-pop Unlimited. Any teasers? What are you playing?
Some really good tracks. That's all you need to know.
All right. Keep listening here to Edge Radio 99.3 FM.